Hi guys, how are you? I hope you are having a good day. I hope you were able to get outside yesterday and enjoy that sunshine and warmer temperatures. Let's get into our grammar for today. So if you'll take your grammar book and open up to page 288, we're going to look at a couple pages on sentence improvement. Then we're going to do a couple review exercises to start preparing us for a test that we will be having next week, a grammar test. So let's go to page 288, exercise A, sentence improvement conciseness. Remember, concise means saying what you want to say in as few words as possible. So we're going to try to get rid of a few words here. So we're going to look at the italicized part of the sentence and then do what the instructions are telling us to do in the parentheses. So let's look at number one. We discovered early Mayflowers. They were along a wooded path. So it's telling us to take the italicized part, turn it into a prepositional phrase. In order to do that, you just have to cross out two words. What are they? Right, to cross out they were. So we just say we discovered early Mayflowers along a wooded path. Number two, Peter walked on the water. He was trusting Jesus. So we want to take he was trusting Jesus, change that into a gerund phrase. So let me give you a hint. You're going to need to add a preposition and then get rid of a couple words. So Peter walked on the water by trusting Jesus. All right. Number three, we want to take which is a poetic book. We want to make that into an appositive. So in order to do that, I just need to cross out two words. What do I cross out? If you said which is, you are correct. All right, exercise B. Now we're doing subordination. We want to take these two sentences and combine them into one sentence, making one of them into a dependent clause using one of our subordinating conjunctions like after, although, because, since, so, when, either at the beginning or in the middle. We'll add that conjunction. Let's look at number one. We ran part of the way. We would not be late. What could I put in the middle, in between those two that could join them together? We ran part of the way so that we would not be late, right? Number two, he ate the fish and chips. He was thirsty. What one word could I put at the beginning of the sentence that could join those together? I could say after he ate the fish and chips, he was thirsty. I could say because he ate the fish and chips, he was thirsty. Any of those would work. Number three, what word can I put at the beginning that would combine those two sentences well? What do you think? If you said although, I am going to agree with you. Although Henry Ford produced the Model T in 1908, he did not introduce the use, etc. All right, exercise C, we want to change these sentences to active voice. They're written in passive voice right now. Remember, passive voice means the subject is receiving the action. We want active voice because it's stronger. So we want the subject to be doing the action. So in order to do that, remember, you kind of have to switch the sentence around. So number one, croissants were baked by Madame Renard every morning. Switch that around, make the subject doing the action. So then I would say, Madame Renard baked croissants every morning. Okay. Number two, the Red Sea and the Jordan River were both parted by God for the Israelites. Okay, we want the subject to be doing the action. Who did the action? Who was parting? Right, God. So God parted both the Red Sea and the Jordan River for the Israelites. Right? All right, exercise C, parallelism. We remember when we want things to be parallel, that means they both need to be in the same structure. So if one is a gerund, the other one needs to be a gerund. If one is an infinitive, they both need to be an infinitive. You want them to be the same. So number one, Seth enjoys participating in sports and to work on cars. So we have a gerund, participating, then we have an infinitive, to work. So I need them both to be the same. So what do I need to do? Seth enjoys participating in sports and working on cars. Number two, that the child had a fever and his raspy cough caused his parents great concern. The easiest way to do this would be to say, the child's fever and his raspy cough caused his parents great concern. All right, exercise E, clear pronoun reference. This is one that's a little bit more difficult. When we have a pronoun and we're not sure, maybe it's ambiguous or it's indefinite, we're not sure what the pronoun is referring to. So let's look at number one. When mother put the vase on the table, she scratched it. What's wrong with that sentence? Well, it is my pronoun, and I don't know what it's referring to. Does it mean she scratched the vase or she scratched the table? So how do I correct that? You don't have to rewrite the whole sentence. You can just correct the word. When Mother put the vase on the table, she scratched the table. Or if you mean the basin, you would say she scratched the vase. Number 2, in the dictionary, it says that a frog is a device placed in a bowl or vase to hold the stems of flowers. Remember the problem here. We don't say in the dictionary it says, or in the recipe it says, or in this chapter it says. What do we say? What do we need to cross out? We just need to say the dictionary says. So we cross out in and we cross out it. We just say the dictionary says. Number 3, Haley told Ruth that her schedule had been changed. Remember, the easiest way to correct this kind is to turn it into a quotation, right? So how would I do that? Haley told Ruth, comma, quotation marks, my schedule has been changed, quotation marks. Or Haley told Ruth, comma, quotations, your schedule has been changed. Either way. All right, and then exercise F, where we have modifiers in the wrong place. This is what we've been working on this week. So, number 1, Jesus told them 3 days later he would rise from the dead. What's the problem there? 3 days later, it's in the middle. I don't know if it means Jesus told them 3 days later or he was going to rise from the dead three days later. So circle 3 days later. Don't rewrite those sentences. Circle 3 days later and put an arrow where? I hope you said to the end of the sentence, right? All right, number 2, I ordered initial stationery from the store scented with roses. Well, the way it's written, it sounds like the store is scented with roses. Well, I guess that's possible, but that's not what the sentence means. So circle what? Scented with roses, and where should it go? Remember, modifiers always need to go by the word they're describing, so it should go after stationery. Number 3, the choir sang a hymn written by Johnson Oatman Jr. in church today. So the way it's written, it sounds like Johnson Oatman Jr. wrote the hymn in church today. I don't think they'd be singing it if he just wrote it that day, right? So circle in church today, and where should it go? I hope you move it to the beginning of a sentence, right? And then walking over the sand dunes, the sea oats were scarce. So the way it's written, the sea oats were walking over the sand dunes. That would be interesting to see. So that's not correct. So walking over the sand dunes, we saw that the sea oats were scarce. Good. Okay, turn the page. We're going to start doing some review here. Exercise A, capitalization and punctuation. Let's not do all of them. Let's just do the odds, okay? So 1, 3, and 5. That's all we'll do. Let's look at number 1. First of all, go through and circle every letter that you think should be capitalized. Are you ready? Doctor, Zerub, Jewish, Hanukkah, Paul. Did you get all 5? I hope so. Now let's go back and let's put our punctuation in. What do we need? Well, Paul's asking a question, so we need quotation marks at the beginning. Dr. Zerub, comma, because direct address, whenever we have a direct address, we need a comma. Why do the Jewish people celebrate Hanukkah? Question mark, quotation marks. Paul asked, period. All right, number 3. First of all, what needs to be capitalized? Look through there really quickly. What do you need to capitalize? Israel, Mediterranean, sea, May, and Jonathan. Good. All right, now go back through and put your punctuation in. I'll give you a second. Ready? Israel, comma, a republic on the Mediterranean Sea, comma, became a state in May 1948, comma, because we're direct address again, talking to Jonathan, period at the end. And number 5, go through and circle everything that needs to be capitalized. Ready? What do you have? Where? Scripture. For Christ. Miss Baker. All right, now go back through. What do you need for punctuation? Well, we need quotation marks at the beginning because we're talking about something that Miss Baker said. Comma after verse because now she's quoting a verse. So we have a quotation inside a quotation. So we need a single quote before for me to live as Christ, to die is gain. Single quote after gain. Then a question mark. Then double quotation marks to end the quote. Period after Miss Baker. All right, exercise B, underline the subject once, underline the verb twice, circle any verbals that you see. There is, I'll give you a hint, 1 verbal in every sentence, okay? Number 1, what is your subject? Did you say Mr. Allen? What is your verb? Did ask. I hope you got both parts. Remember, whenever you have a question, an interrogative sentence, look for a verb sandwich, right? The subject is sandwiched between the verbs. All right, and then what is your verbal? I hope you circled to sing because that's my infinitive. Number 2, what is the subject? Hope you said Jesus. What is the verb? Met and ate. I hope you got both of them. What is the verbal? Did you circle having risen? I hope so, because that is the participle describing Jesus. And number 3, subject is Rachel. Verb is enjoys. And what is my verbal? I hope you circled playing, because that is my gerund. Good. All right. Exercise C. Tell me if this is a run-on, sentence, or fragment. Number 1, hawks sometimes mate for their entire lives. They use the same nest each year. Run on. Number 2, peregrine falcons may reach up to 220 miles per hour when diving at prey. Sentence. Number 3, because a hawk's eyesight is 8 times as sharp as a man's. Fragment, I hope you said. Number 4, falconry began with the ancient Persians and is still a sport today. Sentence. Number 5, having long pointed wings and a bill that is notched. I hope you said fragment. All right, exercise D, last one we'll do today. This is where the word that is italicized, you have to tell me what is it doing in the sentence. All right, so let's look at number 1. Sarah, did Julia give Caitlin some money to spend? Sarah is direct address. Did, hope you said verb, Julia, subject, give, verb, Caitlin, be careful. I hope you said I owe, indirect object. She didn't give Caitlin. She gave something to Caitlin, right? I owe, money, do, and to spend. This is an infinitive acting like an adjective. Were you right? It's describing money. All right, number 2, be slow to speak and quick to listen. Be is a, hope you said verb, slow to speak. What is to speak? I hope you said adverb, because it's describing the adjective slow, okay? And then quick to listen. What is to listen then? Adverb again. Good. Number 3, Mrs. Blue, I hope you said direct address, mother, subject, made, verb, me, indirect object. Did you get it? Skirt, do, and vest, another do, for our play, op, and our town. What's our town? It's following a noun, further explaining and describing it, so it is, hope you said a positive. Number 4, Alexander the Great is subject, king, here again, following a noun, further explaining it, a positive, of Macedonia, op, conquered, verb, it's something you do, empire, conquered who or what? Empire, so direct object. Number 5, Alexis Romanov, subject, was a czar. Was is a linking verb, be careful, so czar is PN, of Russia, OP, during the 17th century, century is object of the preposition during. And number 5, Ben, subject, is looking, verb, for lawns, OP, to mow. Infinitive acting like what? Did you say adjective? If you did, you're right. And leaves, another OP, to rake, another infinitive as adjective, for the fundraising, object of preposition. All right, I hope you did well on those. We will continue next time with some more review, getting us ready for our test coming up next week.